A very good morning, it's Fabio and welcome back to another daily market outlook where we discuss every single major dollar pair and of course gold. As you can see here in the background, we are back in Amsterdam and we're ready for another beautiful week of trading here from the office. Now today is going to be a very interesting day as we have massive movements prime to come into the markets once again. So let's just dive in and see what is going to be going on. So first of all, before we dive into this chart here on EU, let's look at what the orange man has been saying again, because as we can see here, Trump will announce 25% tariffs on both steel and aluminum on Monday, and in return, and I'm not sure if I can find it here, but China was also going to impose tariffs on the United States as well. I think it was around 15% on, I think it was something about steel, oil, gas, maybe something like that. So a lot going on again in the world of tariffs and news, which has caused EURUSD obviously over the weekend to push down lower. This was the opening candlestick here last night. So for myself, I'm in Europe, so this was last night that we saw a push down here on EU, and we're now waiting to see what is going to happen. So again, what is my immediate bias? Because we saw very similar price action last week as well, where we saw a strong gap in towards the downside. Okay, so last week when the market opened, we also saw a massive candlestick in towards the downside, and then for some time we saw the market consolidate before then pushing up higher once again. So I'm looking for something similar, to be honest, on EURUSD. Not gonna lie, at this point in time, we have this area of supply which is currently in control, and what I'm now waiting to see is that if we can break that area of supply, get a retest of then what would be new demand, and then see a push up higher, at least back up into this liquidity high over here. And then once we arrive at that liquidity high, we will then decide if we're ready to push down lower or if we're ready to see that upside continuation and take out more highs and trade ultimately in line with the 4-hour trend. Because if we do zoom out here on EURUSD, we can very clearly see we get a push down, we get a retracement, we get a push down, then we get a push up, we break market structure, then we started to see the market retrace in towards the downside. We retrace all the way back down into premium daily demand, and then from there we start pushing up higher again. Obviously, after grabbing liquidity above this high, we've now seen a short-term reversal down lower. But for now, the market is fighting in between this area of supply and what is ultimately also a area of demand. Okay, so we're now waiting for a little bit more of a clear direction here on EURUSD. I would preferably want to see one more push up here on EU, but obviously if the overall 4-hour order flow holds, it would make more sense for it to continue pushing down lower. So yeah, for now today, this is kind of like the major high that we need to keep an eye on, and as long as that high is respected, the market should push down lower. If that market high gets broken, then we're going to be looking for longs once again, as simple as that. So looking for that on EURUSD, zooming out real quick into the daily and the weekly, what I'm looking for here is based on the weekly time frame, still a push up. So the weekly, obviously, since last week, we've already been talking about it, saw a change of character in towards the upside, meaning that we saw a market structure shift, which is bullish. So we saw the push up, we saw the retracement all the way back down in towards the lows, and we're now looking for that upside continuation once again from a weekly perspective. Now, we therefore need the lower time frame to align as well. So what we have here on the daily, though, is not very nice, in the sense that here we saw a daily fractal high break, here we saw a daily fractal low break, then this high here became a fractal high, this low here became a fractal low, and then if you were to look at daily fractal structure, you see a very nice retracement back up in towards that 0.7, from where ultimately you see another push in towards the downside. So again, not very clear price action, and the main reason for this is all the news that is coming out on tariffs. We can also very clearly see that the daily time frame is kind of a little bit stuck here now inside of this so-called range. We could even apply the range trading tool to this area of price action. So what I do is I do this, where I draw out the 25 and the 75% level. As we can see, the 25% level is acting as support and the 75% level is acting as resistance. The market wants to understand what Trump's intentions are, what he's going to be doing, and this is causing a lot of uncertainty within the markets overall, because every single time Trump announces tariffs, the dollar suddenly starts surging, whilst it doesn't actually even make that much sense that the dollar starts surging after those tariffs, because a lot of people argue that there are not a lot of favorable things behind those tariffs ultimately for the dollar on the long term. Okay, so short term it might look good for the dollar, but long term not so much. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for EURUSD. Let's keep an eye on that 4-hour supply chain going into the dollar index here on the daily, and let's have a quick look at the weekly as well. So the weekly time frame is still extremely clear. We can very well see that we had this weekly area of supply. We tap into that weekly area of supply, and then we see a weekly change of character down. We saw now a high and we saw a low here. So we saw a breakdown. We saw a retracement all the way back up, and now we kind of are seeing some downside continuation again. So based here on technical analysis, looking at the dollar index from a weekly perspective, I am still favoring an overall push down. Okay, so I'm still looking to see if we can get the liquidity which lies underneath this low. That for myself is currently my target on the dollar index, around 105,420. But in order for the price to reach that level, we need the lower time frame to cooperate as well. So from a lower time frame perspective, and then I'm talking about the daily fractal structure and obviously the 4 hour as well, it is looking pretty good. So we had a daily fractal low break over here. Therefore, this is then your immediate daily fractal low. So the low of this bearish candle. Let me get that right for a second. That's the low, and then we have a high positioned over here, which is your daily fractal high. So at the moment, this is your daily fractal range, and then we can very clearly see if we draw in a premium versus discount tool that we're getting close to that 0.5 fib, which could potentially push the market down lower. I then look at the 4 hour time frame, and then on the 4 hour, we can see that we're currently situated inside of this supply zone. So this is a nice supply zone to look for potential shorts. Why? Well, because we also have or had liquidity over here. You can very clearly see that this is a high. This high tries to take out that high, and then it fails to do so. And then boom, we come back up. We see some reaction, but now still we're seeing that upside order flow shift. So what we need now to do is we need to break this low over here on the 4 hour time frame, and that for me will be the confirmation that the dollar is then ready to start taking out these equal lows. Okay, so this black line here is crucial in seeing that dollar downside. Otherwise, we should just continue up higher with the overall order flow. Okay, so keep an eye on that on the dollar. Going into AUDUSD, AUDUSD itself is extremely messy. Overall, again, we zoom out a bit and we can see that the market is consolidating, guys. The market is moving sideways and it is becoming more and more clear, okay? We can very well see that we're stuck inside this box. And again, this has everything to do with these tariffs. So your analysis can be as good as you want. If Trump still decides to then impose tariffs, the market will not go your way. So therefore, I am personally focusing on swing trading. And second of all, I am limiting my risk on these dollar positions because I need to see a little bit more certainty in the market and I need to see direction start to form. So what I want to look at here on the weekly real quick with you is first of all the weekly time frame. Okay, so the weekly is still very clear. We had a range high here at the top. Range high gets liquidated by this high and then boom, reversal down. Here we have a range low gets liquidated, and now I'm ultimately just looking for the reversal back up again. So still very interested in that. For now here from the daily time frame, we can still see that the daily is a little bit messy here. Daily fractal structure doesn't make sense drawing that in when the market is consolidating, so keep that in mind. I'm not going to look at the individual candlesticks. So now I'm going to have a look at the 4 hour time frame, and what I can see here is still that we broke above the 4 hour here. We've now liquidated the range low, and what I'm now looking at here is a 4 hour change of character up. So we saw the 4 hour change of character up. So this was previously an area of supply. It's kind of what I'm looking at on EURUSD at the moment. So this is then your 4 hour supply zone. And then what happens here is that we liquidate the low. After liquidation of that low, boom, V-shaped reversal up. So now what I want to see is a stronger 4 hour candle close. This is still very indecisive and stuck inside of this box. I want to see a little bit more momentum. I want to see like a candle like this. And then what we'll have is a area of demand here, which I then want to see retested. And then I'll look for that upside continuation back up higher into where? Well, in towards the high of the range here on the daily. And what I mean with the range here on the daily is ultimately just this, where this was previously a range low that got liquidated, and now I'm looking to liquidate this range high. Because again, for myself, this here is my area of consolidation. We draw in the range trading tool, and then again you can see, okay, the 25% level has been your support and the 75% level has been your resistance. We liquidate the range low, and this is how range trading works, guys. We liquidate the range low, and now you want to see the range high get liquidated, because when the market moves sideways, ultimately you see this and you see this, and then the market eventually will choose a direction, but more often than not we see both sides of the range get liquidated. So that's what I'm waiting to see here on AU. Therefore, I am waiting to see a little bit more certainty on the lower time frame. Obviously, it's Monday, so let's give the market a little bit of time to decide where it wants to head for the rest of the week. But so far, here on the 1 hour at least, it is looking good. We have a 1 hour area of demand, so I would be interested in looking for some further longs here. But what I'll personally do is I'll just buy in on the 1 hour order flow up higher. But for that, I need the 4 hour candle closure to be a little bit stronger than what it is now, and give us a little bit more, because otherwise we could just head down lower again. But do keep in mind, this wick is very nice because of the fact that we now made a connection with this overall sell before the buy here. We liquidated this low here, and now I just want to want to see that bullish momentum come in. So if that bullish momentum is there, I will get in on those AU longs, but I need to see just a little bit more certainty, a little bit more momentum, especially also from that 4-hour candle close to confirm that this here is my 4-hour demand zone, okay? So that's what I'm now waiting for on AU. Last week I was looking for longs also on EU. It didn't play out as well as I would have wanted to see. Obviously, yes, we started the week down below over here and we ended the week over here. So overall, yes, it was a bullish week, but towards the end of the week, the market was consolidating and didn't push up as much as I wanted it to. But regardless of that, let's see if we can get some continuation today or not. Depends on kind of like how we open now during today's London and New York session. Going into GBPUSD, GU itself, guys, is moving a little bit strange today as well. It's very consolidative. Daily time frame, not so clear. Yes, we have a daily fractal high, a daily fractal low. So ultimately, we liquidate this high over here, and then it would make sense to push down lower. But for myself, it will only make sense again if we break this low over here to then push down lower, because this is the low for confirmation. Until then, I still see this internal trend playing its part and pushing the market up higher potentially. I'll be keeping an eye on seeing what the 4-hour does today. I would not be surprised if we see some short-term upside still relived. For now, this here is your 4-hour fractal high, which broke this 4-hour fractal low here. Yes, we previously had supply positioned over here, which we've already tapped into with this wick over here. That pushed the market down lower again, but if we break that again, that's not going to be a very bearish sign, and we could just see a push up again. So keep that in mind. Overall, again, keep in mind, well, I'm seeing keep in mind a lot, but we can see the market is consolidating. It's moving sideways, a lot of uncertainty, but overall I am favoring a push up if we see that blue line break. Otherwise, for now, supply is still in control and shorts just still make sense. So for now, on the immediate term, shorts make sense, but otherwise, if we break that blue line, that is when you then want to be looking for longs, okay? So keep an eye on that, but obviously it's Monday morning and the market is consolidating, and we also have a key level of support here. Not that I trade support and resistance, but we can just very clearly see that this is a key level of support, so do keep that in mind when trading GU. Going into NU itself here on the daily is very similar to AUDUSD, looking for pretty similar price action here. Again, market is consolidating. It's stuck inside this box. What happened here is that we liquidate the range low. Then now what we're looking to do is just liquidate the range high. For now, what is very nice here on NU is that we have tapped in towards this daily area of demand. So this daily area of demand is just simply said your sell for the buy up, which caused a change of character. This is a change of character high because it broke the change of character low over here. So I am looking still for upside continuation on NU. Go into towards the 4-hour time frame, and then you'll see here very clearly that this here is your 4-hour fractal low, and that this is your 4-hour fractal high. So NU is actually the best bet from a long perspective. Then what happened here as well is that we liquidated the low. So now ultimately what we're looking for is for a lower time frame bull chain, or let's say bullish momentum to start kicking in to potentially take out the high over here. That is what I would personally want to see from NU. So let's see if we can get some bullish momentum. Ultimately, what's happening now is that we're pulling back a bit. We can see here that we had a supply, and then again over here we had a supply, and then again what happened is that we broke in towards the upside. Therefore, now we have demand that is in control. So I'm now going to be looking to see what happens at this demand zone. This is just simply the first demand zone created. So this could just be a liquidity grab, and then again, the next push down. So at least wait for some kind of demand chain to form, especially here on Monday, before getting into any long position. So let's see what the market does inside of this area of demand, and if it's able to push the market up higher. So that's what I'll be looking for from NU. It liquidated all of the lows very nicely. This was kind of like the final low before this clean move down. Therefore, I've really viewed this as liquidity. We can see the liquidity get swiped. So now let's see if a demand chain can form, or otherwise, yeah, if there's not a lot of momentum or enough momentum, it will just push down lower. And then last of all, we have gold. Gold is pushing up higher still. Overall, follow the money, man. Follow the money on gold. It's that simple. Daily is still bullish. So for now, again, what has happened? Well, this is now your daily demand zone here, depending on how the daily candle closes. So just follow gold up higher. Nothing really else to say. At this point in time, we can just see that the overall order flow is bullish. Sell before the buy, sell before the buy. follow the sell before the buy, guys, and now this here is your sell before the buy, so follow it up higher and higher. Obviously it's trading at an all-time high, it is bullish, so shorts are really just not on the table. Longs are the only thing you can do, so simply just wait for it to retrace into your demand zone and then wait for the market structure shift to happen before then again going long. Okay, as simple as that. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day and speak soon.